Peak oil, in the simplest terms, means that about half the oil has been used up. When I say half the oil, I mean half the oil that's economically viable has been used up. That's the simplest way of thinking about it. What it actually means, if we want to be technically correct, is that the rate of production or extraction of that oil will reach a plateau or peak. It will reach its maximum level, and from that point on, it will decline inexorably. So what we're saying here is that oil, being a finite substance, will come to some point where it actually hits a maximum level, then it goes into a declining. At that point where it starts to go in decline, we're going to have to figure out how to make do with less. We don't know how to do that at this point, because our recent history has always been making do with much more oil. So each year we're using several percent more oil. Now, what happens when we come to a point where we no longer can do that? And that's what gets the folks who are looking at the peak oil phenomena excited, because they're realizing we're coming into a point where the game needs to be changed, where things need to be done differently, because we're not going to have all this cheap and abundant energy available. Now, energy runs our economy. Energy makes the world go round. It also makes things go around the world, really. If you want to take a look at transport, 90% of transport is dependent on oil. So we've got a situation where we've created a global economic system that requires us to ship things from distant places all over the world to where we are, and this arrangement requires a large amount of oil to be consumed. Now, we're not prepared for a new arrangement which requires much less transport. Right now, we're relying on goods that are being shipped 6,000 miles away. Our food in the United States travels on average 1,500 miles. A lot of our goods come from East Asia, and I believe as we move towards a time when energy is going to be more scarce, we won't be able to rely on these 6,000 mile supply chains. There's a number of different reasons. One, are we sure in an energy scarce future that the folks that are making the goods now will still have the resources and the inputs that they need for their production? Two, will they have the energy that they need to produce? Three, will they be producing more than they need locally? Or essentially, will they have excess that they'll want to sell? Four, if they do have excess, will it make sense? Will it be economically viable to transport it to us? Because in the energy constrained future, it's going to be a lot more expensive to transport things. And then five, will they want our currency? I'm not sure. I don't know if that last one's gonna actually play out, but there are a lot of folks that are very concerned about our currency without even thinking about energy. So if we can't rely upon these 6,000 mile supply chains, what are we going to do? It makes sense to start local production for local consumption, for us to start moving towards becoming much more self-reliant. The magnitude of the situation it's huge, it's tremendous. Oil is almost ubiquitous in our daily lives. In our normal life, we use products made out of oil or transported by oil almost every minute of our day. And when you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, what's that made out of? It's made out of plastic. Plastic is made from oil. The little the hairs on your toothbrush, those are nylon, and those are made out of oil as well. Nylon is just another example of a manufactured fabric, which I am wearing one as well. This happens to be made out of oil. Virtually everything that we do, we're touching some aspect of oil, whether it's the transport or oil being a key part of a key input to the product. Well, it would be difficult. It would be almost impossible for someone living in the Western world to go through their day without having any impact of oil. I mean, it's pervasive. It's something that we completely depend on for our normal lives. And there's a lot of different reasons that our normal lives are things that we need to look at and change. For example, our normal life is ecologically unsustainable. I mean, we are destroying the life support systems of the planet. Our normal life also creates huge disparities in health and wealth, which these are both really important issues. Yet I tend to believe they're not anything that's going to cause us to change society or change the structure of the system. Now, this whole normal life being underwritten by cheap and abundant fossil fuels, this concept right here, that could lead to change, because we've got oil peaking, which means that oil is going to be less available and there's going to be higher prices. This has a chance to actually impact how we do things. And the way I like to think about it is that we need to reinvent our normal lives. We need to take a look at all our notions of what health, wealth, success, mobility, shelter. We need to reinvent these things so that they are not only ecologically sustainable and not only socially just, but we need to make them much, much less dependent on fossil fuels, and specifically oil. Yeah,